Hello and welcome everyone, I'm C.S.Gilmore and today I'm going to be talking about the Warhammer 40k book, Cypher, Lord of the Fallen. Let me see if I can get a better view there for you. Yeah. So the contrast on that. Writing not great, but it's done by John French. And this is a very interesting book. It's not particularly long. It's only it's under 200 pages. Like, I want to say it was 100 and 70, 180, something in that range. 179? Yeah. Very interesting book. And I think the best way to jump in here is first I have to talk about Cypher a bit. Cypher is a Dark Angel, or was, or maybe is still. Who Cypher is throughout the lore has been a big question of debate. We know he generally trolls the Dark Angels quite a lot. He's considered a fallen, but there's also throughout the history there's some suggestions that there's probably been more than one Cypher. That the Cypher that we have right now is probably not the original Cypher, but that someone killed Cypher and then took up his mantle. But there's also questions as to whether Cypher is loyalist or heretic or whatever, and whether Cypher even knows. And this book does not answer any of that, really, and good, but that's part of the fun of it. This book is told from the point of view of Cypher. Cypher is our narrator, telling of this event and this experience, and he is a very unreliable narrator who seems to know far more than he should be able to know, but also is like, but I couldn't possibly have known about all that, could I? And things like that. But it's like, but he definitely seems to know about some of this stuff. And what is going on here? Um, I think the best way to talk about this would be this is like right around the Cicatrix Maledictum opening up and Gilliman returning, that time period. So it's pretty recent. The back of the book here says, as the great rift unfolds in the night sky above Terra, and demons walk upon the birth world of mankind, the Primarch Ruboat Gilliman returns, heralding a dark new age. During the breaking storm, Cypher and his band of fallen escape from the most secure prison in the Imperium. Now loose in the Imperial Palace, they are hunted by warriors of the Dark Angels, forces of the Adeptus Custodes, and Imperial assassins. But what are Cypher's intentions? Can anything or anyone be trusted? Told from Cypher's own unreliable point of view. This tale of truth, lies, and secrets sees one of the Imperium's most mysterious figures make war at its very heart. But what are the true motivations of the Lord of the Fallen? So yeah, Cypher is in prison in the Imperial Palace, along with a bunch of other Fallen. And he breaks out. Somehow, he breaks out. He knows things that he shouldn't be able to know, and is able to get out of containment and free his fellow Fallen that are working with him. And his goal is to get to the Emperor. And from what we can gather, it's to probably kill the Emperor. Probably. Not sure. But life is not so simple. Because one, he's in the Imperial Palace. It's already super heavily guarded because there's Custodes there that are guarding the Emperor, and Custodes are no slouches. It's also where, say, various Imperial assassin types tend to hang out. I believe one of the main Imperial assassins that is dealt around here is an older fellow who's probably a man. He's one of the shape-shifting ones. So probably a man, but is he really? He might not even know at that point because he's an older assassin and he's been doing this a long time. I don't want to say he was one of the Grand Masters or something. He was up there anyway in the Imperial Assassins, enough to be in the Imperial Palace area and working with the Custodes. There's the Custodes, who's primarily involved in trying to hunt Cypher down after he breaks out of the cells. And of course, because what would the Fallen be doing somewhere without the Dark Angels hunting them down? There's a squad of the Dark Angels, being the usual problematic Dark Angels that they are, hypocritical. We're loyalists, really. No one could ever know that we had someone in our group that wasn't loyalist, and trying to be super loyalist and hide our shame. We're probably going to do some more harm than good to the Imperium in the process. So we have a group of Dark Angels breaking into the Imperial Palace, sabotaging things, breaking things, and whatnot, and making all in all making the situation worse. All in their attempts to hunt down Cypher and the Fallen with him, and either bring them to repentance or kill them. And Cypher is always seeming to be one step ahead of them all. He always seems to know far more than he should. He always seems to know they're after him and that they're going to cause this problem. And he just there's a lot of stuff of, once again, like I said, of him going, and then this is going on, and they're doing this, and they're prepping this, and we're doing this. But I couldn't possibly have known about that now, could I? And yet he always seems to handle the situation fairly well and be all ready for it and everything else. And throughout this story, a lot happens. As you might guess, the Dark Angels screw things up more and more, trying to deal with the Fallen. And Cypher, who's Lord of the Fallen, there as the book kind of refers to him, and that causes problems for everyone involved. The custodian trying to hunt down the escaped prisoners, is having a hard time with things. The assassins get involved, and if I remember correctly, throughout the story, Cypher, once again, there's always those questions: is he loyalist? Is he heretic? What is his goal in this whole thing? It seems to be to get to the Emperor, which of course the custodians don't want to happen. Or the assassins for that matter. And if I remember correctly, throughout the story, Cypher gravely wounds and potentially kills the custodian. If I remember right, it was a little vague on the details in that regard. I think it was he mortally wounds this custodian to the point where he's dying, or going to be dead, or is just dead, but maybe not quite. I believe it was a delivered mortal wound to the point that he is dying. And I forget exactly what happens to the assassin, if he lives or dies, and I'm pretty sure the Dark Angels end up dying, or definitely failing in their mission anyway. And all the Fallen with Cypher, if I remember right, end up dying, or if they don't, I don't recall for sure, but I want to say most, if not all of them, die or get in some issues. It was a while since I read this book, so some of my memory on that is iffy. Regardless, whatever the point of it was, I do know that he basically gets to right outside the Emperor's chambers, and it's at that point the custodian he comes out and talks to him again. Only this time, it's very much suggested that the custodian isn't the custodian at this time. It's the Emperor driving the custodian as he's on the brink of death. or he has died, and he's basically being used as a meat puppet by the Emperor right now to convey this message. And what he does is he comes out and he talks to Cypher, and basically just tells him, "Not yet." And Cypher's like, "I have come all this way. I have broken into the Imperial Palace, dealt with the custodian, dealt with all this other garbage. I've expanded all these resources, done all this, everything." And the Emperor's like, "Not yet. Like, maybe you'll need to come in and do whatever it is you need to do, but not right now. Maybe sometime soon you'll need to come in here and kill me or do whatever you were going to do to me to once you got to me, and it was supposed to do something to progress the my plans for the Imperium. But not yet. Go back." And it's like, "Yep, you did all this, and it's all gone really not great, but you're here, and it's gone. It didn't go great, but it also did go well enough that you got to this point, and you could go the rest of the way and do this. You could go in and do whatever you were going to do. This custodian can't stop him at this point, wherever. But the Emperor, through the custodian, says, go back. You'll find, when the time comes, you'll find a way to return. I know you will." And Cypher leaves. To probably, maybe, perhaps not, someday return to do whatever it is he's supposed to do, whether that's save the Emperor, kill the Emperor, bit of both, something unknown, long-term thing. And will it even be that Cypher at the time? Is this Cypher the original Cypher? Is it there's something else going on here, some warpy shenanigans? Like there's some suggestions that maybe this isn't the original Cypher, but it might kind of be. Like maybe Cypher is something warpy that, like, you kill Cypher, you become Cypher type of deal. I don't know, or someone else becomes Cypher. I kind of want theorize that maybe Cypher is a shard of the Emperor himself, because the Emperor's got shards of his soul and bits of himself kind of scattered out there. There's the Star Child. There's the old man the lion sees in the Caliban Forest area. There's the old Bleeding King. Well, actually, that may have been just more of a manifestation of the Emperor, not necessarily a shard of him. Hard to say, but my theorization is that maybe Cypher is definitely not normal, and he may be the original Cypher, kind of body swapping anytime anyone actually manages to kill Cypher, or maybe no one's ever managed to actually kill Cypher, and that's all a lie. He's like Alpha Legion levels of we don't even know what we are anymore type of, like, are we loyalist, are we traitor, we don't even know anymore. That level of inception of we don't know what's what, because everything's hidden but also not hidden but also probably is. And this is the truth. There's I think a few times where he's like, and this is the truth but it's a lie, or something like that, in various parts of his monologue about, like, talking about this whole scenario. It's really well written, it's really cool, and it's very much probably leaves you with more questions than answers, but not in a frustrating way, but in a, man, this is cool and I'm kind of really curious about it kind of way. And it was really well written, uh, and just interesting and well done in a, like, is the perfect example of an unreliable narrator. Because Cypher you can't trust a word he says. Or maybe you can trust everything he says. Does Cypher even know what Cypher is? Does Cypher know whether Cypher's loyalist or traitor? Is he? We don't know. No one knows. Alpha Legion doesn't know. The Alpha Legion doesn't know if they are loyalist or not. Cypher isn't even part of the Alpha Legion. He's part of the First. He's part of the Dark Angels. Or is he? Because he might not be. Because if he's been killed by someone who wasn't at some point and replaced by them, but why is that? Are they being Cypher then? But so many questions, so many not answers. But it's a really cool story, given in a really interesting way, and I liked it. And it was weird and cool and just funky and odd in its own ways, but good. Even though sometimes those, yes, but we'll never really get an answer to this, will we? Type of deals can get frustrating. This did it in a way that I felt was good. Because sometimes when you don't resolve things, it just gets like, oh, come on, just do it already. And in this case, it was this is suggesting a lot of deeper things that make me think, and as a lore enthusiast myself, makes me go, but what if? But what if he is a heretic? If he is trying to do this for this reason, but why is he listening when he's told don't do that? But then if he is loyalist, why would he be trying to do this? What would this accomplish? How does this help the Emperor's plan? Is this the Emperor's plan? Seems to be the Emperor's plan, but why? And when? And why? And how? And if the Emperor does this, but then does that mean the Emperor would be coming back? Does it mean the Emperor would actually die? Because of how the Golden Throne has affected everything? If the Emperor came back, would it really be the Emperor after 10,000 years of being stuck on the Golden Throne, being basically endlessly in pain and torture and junk, and fed psyker souls just to maintain him? Is this even the Emperor at this point, or is it a conglomeration of something else? Is it some shard of the Emperor? Is it what is going on here? It's like diving down the Wonderland rabbit hole of what ifs and what could be's, and where is this going, and is it going to go anywhere? But it does it well, and it does it in a way that is interesting and fun to read and makes you rack your brain going, but what is going on? Highly recommend the book. Yeah, it's a good book. Like I said, it's really short, especially like, I mean, yeah, under 200 pages. And the text is pretty well spaced, kind of like it's not a long book, but it's engaging throughout, as I recall. And it's well done. Also, they throw even more loops into the whole thing of, is he heretic? Is he loyalist? Because look at the back of the book. That looks like a Chaos Star, doesn't it? But why would there be a Chaos Star? He's loyalist, isn't he? Or is he? Is he fallen? Is he fallen? Or is he just kind of fallen? Who knows? Woo! He seems to be on a secret mission for the Emperor himself. And we're not getting answers for that. So yeah, I think that's it for the book. I can't think of anything else to talk about there. I probably forgot something important. There was a lot of, while it was short, a lot happened. And once again, Cypher being the unreliable narrator that he is, and the way he tells the story, I probably forgot something important that he hinted at. But never actually answered for sure. Or did he? Yeah. So comments below. Have you read the book? What did you think about it? Favorite parts, least favorite parts? Cool theorizations. Yeah. Otherwise, I think I need to wrap this episode up here. Hit like, hit subscribe if you're new here and need to keep up so you can keep up with new releases. I am not quite sure which book I want to talk about next. I think I want to talk about Harrowmaster. Talk about Harrowmaster, Renegade's Harrowmaster. It's a Alpha Legion book. So as we were talking about the whole "Are we loyalists? Are we not?" thing, and Cypher out Alpha Legioning the Alpha Legion in that regard. I think that'll be a fun book to get into next. I think I might do that one next because it's interesting. There was some good stuff in there. Hopefully, I can recall enough of it to really give you a good look into that book. I'm gonna have to do some review, but now I've got a little time to do that. Hopefully, in the next bit. So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's it for now. Good night, everyone. Bye.